All right, friends. Jake here again, Wulfie and Jones, Azenquor, whichever one. And I'm gonna just make it the second part of the video I said I would, which was to show you how to make the equivalent of this video that we're gonna play now in HitFilms Express. Now it might not turn out exactly the same, but let's check it out.
All right, what's your deal? Hurry it up on a tight schedule here. Chop chop.
Oh yeah, I'm Wulfie. Actually, my name is William Ulrich Leonard Farrell III, but everyone calls me Wulfie. They say my nickname has no effort, but I don't care. I'm also a vegetarian. Well, sometimes. But don't tell mom. I gotta go now.
All right, cool. So let's get into it. So this is essentially what I came up with afterwards. It doesn't, like I said, exactly look like it, and this is not even the finished version, but it comes out looking like this. And we took out the part where he's asking what's your deal. So you're just getting the part where Wulfie himself just talks, right?
Oh yeah, I'm Wulfie.
So that audio sounds a little bit low. So I have to go to the editor, bring in that Wulfie composition shot in the video, check the audio settings, and just buff that up a bit.
Oh yeah, I'm Wulfie. Actually, my name is
Loud.
William Ulrich Leonard Farrell III, but everyone calls me Wulfie. They say my nickname has no effort, but I don't care. I'm also a vegetarian. Well, sometimes. But don't tell mom. I gotta go now.
Cool. So that's what we're aiming to create from scratch. So we'll be creating, importing files, creating composites, putting everything together, dropping in a few effects, getting our lighting ready, and who knows, if we have enough time, we just put in the rest of everything else. All right, cool. So I'm gonna start from scratch, but first let me see what I have so far. Store is my downloads folder. Wulfie, yeah, Wulfie. I have one for After Effects, which you can see in the previous video, and this one. So let's start from scratch. Here's what we need to do first of all. Create a entirely new project, right? So when you start off with HitFilms Express, well, the best thing for me to do is just start off by closing the program and reopening it. So if you want to download HitFilms Express, you can actually go on their website, fxhome.com. Wow. So, and you can get HitFilms Express free. Just get the free version. You just probably when you're registering for it, it's gonna ask you, hey, do you wanna create an account? If you already have an account, you wanna download it, it's gonna ask you to just share that you're getting it on social media. So you get this when you start up HitFilms Express and have the latest version. We just need to go new, and you're gonna create what kind of file you want. So the editor is here, and you have a duration. Now, duration of my audio or my entire thing is less than a minute. So I'll set this to 1 minute and then clip back as I need to. And this tells you hours, minutes, seconds, and frames, right? And your width, height, you're gonna set that up to 1920 by 1080 for whatever file project you're gonna be using. And because we're importing from an animation, animation is usually 24 frames per second. And so we just click on that there and make sure your aspect ratio is square pixels. Yeah, sometimes I tend to talk fast a lot, so bear with me. I'm going to try and slow it down. And then we press OK. All right, so when you press OK, depending on what you're doing for the first time, you might get something looking like this. So different view, click on home, you have edit, you have home. I mean, depending on what you want to do, you have export. So we're going to choose the edit viewport, right? And we get something looking like this. It may not look like this for you immediately, but there should be a choice between your editor and your composite when you start. So let's import a few things. we need the files first of all. So I have Wulfie speaks, which if you looked at my OpenTunes video, and I'll put that link in the description below, where I was rendering, I rendered it with a green background, right? The reason why is because I want to cut this guy out of the background to get something looking kind of nice. Okay, so that's one. We need to have the background. We need the, well, we have the character. We have a need of the background. So you just double click and just locate that background. Usually keep my stuff in my vendors folder, which is my scene. Let's look for that. Visual models 2019. So we have the interrogation scene, or we have the total drama island looking scene. I want to import, I guess, this one, interrogation room 3. And just for the fun of it, I might decide to play around with a couple of these scenes here. Right, so press open, and we have that. Now, by default, your editor is going to work kind of like Adobe Premiere or any other video editing software where you have your tracks, your video and your audio, your master mixer. What we want to do is create Composite so that we can actually put these things together to get them to look exactly the way we want it to look before we throw them into the editor for rendering. So we're going to choose new composite shot. It's going to ask you for the size. I'm going to call this Wulfie main, right? And it asks me what the size is, the duration, etc. And that's there. It maintains the same frame rate as we originally set the whole project to be. And the audio, we can leave the sample rate and press OK. Now the duration is 30 seconds, so anything going beyond 30 seconds, you'd have to actually extend it. So all we need is one, the interrogation room scene. So we're throwing that in first, and that's what we get. The next one is the Wulfie. Wulfie speaks at MOV. And that's what we have there. So if you have a different character, of course, you want to maintain a green screen if you're going to be doing it like this, or if you can import a PNG sequence, you can actually import image sequences here. But the thing is, if you import the image sequences, there's no audio attached, so you have to import the audio separate from the image sequence and kind of recomposite everything together. All right, that's that. Now the first thing we need to do is get Wulfie out of this green background. And we have a list of effects here that we're going to be using. All we need is keying. So we can actually type in, either click the button here and choose key. And we have key. And I'm going to use the color difference key. Now you just click on this and you drag it onto the layer you want to be applied to, which is the Wulfie. And we just drop that there. Now you'll see that mine actually cuts out immediately. And the reason for that is by default, the screen color they chose is green, right? So if your character is a green character, you might want to put him on a different background that's not green, because as far as I've seen here, as far as I'm seeing here, you only have 3 options, so that works out for me. And you can always change a few options here, like view matte. That's going to show you exactly what you're seeing. You can increase the gamma or lower it. My character is blue, so I don't think it really matters. Alright, cool. So that's there. Following that, we're going to have to create another composite for Wulfie here. But before we create the composite, I want to put him in a mask. So one, let's close that up. Wulfie is here. And if you look on the drop down on the side to the left, he's kind of small for me. So let's extend that, reduce the effects, and play with the transforms. So I want to just scale him up, and normally I don't advise scaling up because you tend to lose quality when you do that. But for this intent and purpose, because I want to get him behind the desk, I'm just going to scale him up a bit. That's way too much. I'm just going to type it in 130, and I think that might be a little bit too much, so I'll put that to 115. Because we have the constrained proportions, that's how it's going to look. So now we have this. Now Wulfie's there. That's great. Everything's fine. Looks like it's fine. But we want to actually cut him off or mask him, right? And you'll notice that in this particular version of him, what I'm going to be doing is actually pulling him up just above the table so that we can actually see that tail wag a little more clearly. So you simply click on this rectangle mask tool. Shortcut is R, as it shows you, and you click and drag, and it shows you what you're going to be masking out, like that, right? So you can always move that or play with the mask shape as well. You play with the expansion, right? And what I'll do is, if you're not satisfied with your mask, you can always click on mask and delete and just draw again. I'll just carry it over here. Select that, choose Wulfie. You have to select the layer you want to draw the mask on, otherwise it won't work. Just put that there, and I'll deselect that layer so that we can see what it looks like, and it looks okay. You know, we zoom in by, scrolling in and out, and that looks okay. So I'm not quite satisfied yet, because what I need to do, because I want to add a few more effects on there, I want to create a composite of this particular layer just by itself. So I'm going to right click here, and there's an option that says make composite shot, right? And we'll call this Wulfie mask, right? And I want to make sure that all my effects move with the layer. So everything that has happened on this, all the effects that we have, we're not going to just leave them out. We're going to put them inside. So I'm going to press OK. And that creates an entirely new composite, giving me just this by itself, and it kind of extends the frame. So Wulfie mask is fine by itself. I'm going to leave that as it is, and we see that. Now, there are two things I want to do. I'm going to just rename this Wulfie mask. Just going to call it original. Reason why, and I'm going to create another one and another one. So we have, what we're going to be doing is a reflection for one. I'm going to rename this to reflection because of what we'll plan to do with it. And the last one I'm going to rename and call it highlight. All right, cool. So kind of want to get that highlight and shadows, or that dim looking thing, and then you create the highlights on the parts that need the highlight, right? So we'll take it a step at a time. The original doesn't need to be modified just yet, but what we can see what we have so far is this.
Oh yeah, I'm Wulfie.
And you notice it plays back a little slowly, I'm guessing because the sound isn't exactly cached into the whole thing. But we can actually do a next frame, or preview, just to see what it looks like. All right, let's get the highlights in, or first the reflection, because that's the easiest thing to do. Now a reflection really is going to be like this. Currently everything is exactly the same, so to change the reflection, it's a matter of transforming it and the opacity. So right now, if you look on the scale for the reflection layer, it's 100 by 100. That's X and Y. And if you were to change any one of these, they both change. We don't want that. So I'm going to unlock that so that we can actually modify not the X, but the Y scale. So when you modify a Y scale and put a negative 100, it's actually going to flip on the Y axis 100%. And if you know mathematics and you know Cartesian planes and those different formulas, I'm no math wit, but that's exactly what happens when you press something on a negative value on the y-axis. I'm just going to move this down, and if I want to be careful, I could just use this arrow here, and it just snaps to that y-axis, and just pull that down, like so. I'm going to leave just a little white space, just a smidge like that, so it looks like that. And then afterwards, using that same transform, but not for the original, right? For the reflection, I'm going to play with the opacity. So I'm going to lower the opacity to about 15%. Now, depending on what you want to do or what kind of effect you want to create, you just play with it a bit. Alright, so that's two parts of it down. The last bit we want to get is the highlight. And the highlight has quite a few steps. In After Effects, you'd be required to press probably a satin, or just create an inner shadow or something like that. But in this particular version, I didn't see an option for it, so I had to kind of do a little research. And here are the steps. You can actually find this online as well. Right, so we start off with the highlight. I'm going to turn that on. First thing you want to do is going to drop a few text on there. One, invert the alpha. Now the alpha currently is, alpha essentially means transparency. So if I were to hide everything, right, what you're seeing around Wulfie right now is transparent. So when we're inverting the alpha, here's what's going to happen. So I'll just hit invert, and we have matte enhancement, invert alpha. Just drag that onto the highlight. It's gonna flip it. So basically everything that you would normally see is gonna be flipped. So it's gonna flip it black because that's what it does. So now the alpha becomes the inverse. You get the idea, I think. All right, next, what do we need to do? Let's add a fill color effect. So fill color, just gonna drop that on this. It's gonna work like a stack, so they come down like this. So the color currently filled in is that, and this essentially you want to be whatever color you're gonna have um your highlight to be. That's what you play with. Blend amount I'll set to white, 100%, and the color I'll just leave at that. I guess if he was reflecting off his head, and because he has blue fur, then you could probably slightly tweak that, but not like too much. Right, just a smidge. Maybe that's too much. Probably more white, right? Something like that. Cool. Right, so that's filled color. Now we can choose to add a blur effect, and this I'll actually have to modify later. So blur effect, type in blur and throw your blurs on that. Just drop it below fill color. You can actually feel that you can always see that blur there that's going on. But I'll set this to 0 for now and play with that later. Now the other thing I want to do is just offset it a bit. So this particular layer, the highlight, because I want light to be shining from above, I'm gonna just offset it a bit like so. And I'll show you why. Before I even offset it, let me just show you. The next effect we're gonna be using, let's see, set matte. All right, so we're gonna throw that down here. And the option we want to do is we want to make sure that it's set to subtract in terms of its blending. So it flips it back. Now you're not going to see anything at all right now because, like I said, we wanted to offset it first. So if I actually offset this and move this down, ooh, it's not. Oh, one more thing, I forgot to invert. The source layer is going to be which one? The original one. That's gonna set that up. Highlight layer. We'll move this down. You get that look, right? So it's gonna be based off what we're moving. So because I have my highlights here, that's why it comes up kind of like that. All right, so now we have the highlights there. And if you want to add more blur, if you want to add more blur, just increase the radius to like 2 or 3 or 4, and you can get your nice little blur there, and it does that stuff. And for me, I'm just gonna make it a vertical blur so that you're only getting the blur really coming from the vertical direction. Choose clamp to edge, but that does really, and you can increase the iterations to get it to be more smooth or not. But that's up to you. If you want your radius to be like 1, it gets a much more sharper look, and you get something looking kind of like that. Now the last bit I'd add to this is, well, for my highlight layer still, is I want to add something else. Not so much to the highlight layer, but to the original. I want to add one of those fill. So fill color. I'm going to fill the color on the original one, and it's going to fill white, but I want to change the color to black instead. And I'm going to lower that. So we get kind of like a darker look. So if it's a case where you want your character to walk in and be revealed eventually, you could actually animate this. So let's try doing that. So I'm going to set this up first to be 0. Or I could set it to be about 50. Right, so it looks like the light's shining down on him. Now some people ask me, why don't you just put some light here? Because, well, this is a flat character. If we didn't actually account for doing all this stuff earlier, then it wouldn't work out. But if we actually accounted for where the light would be shining before, like the nose and all these different parts, then you could actually separate the nose, separate the eyes, etc. And then when you're ready to do stuff, it'll just do it like that. Okay, cool. So let's get him to walk in. I think I have an audio track I need to get for this, which is where the interrogator is asking for him to say, what to say. So look in the tools, and that's be the interrogator. What's your deal? That's Cedric Malcolm again. Now we have a clear version. We have a not so clear version. We're just going to use the not so clear version because I want it to sound like he's in a kind of place thing. So this is the audio it starts off with, like what's the deal. So what I'm going to do is highlight this, well, I'm trying to highlight them, all three of them, and you have to pull them over so that it comes in, and you hold shift to snap or not at all. So then when we play it out,
All right, what's your deal? How are you helping on a tight schedule here? Chop chop.
So yeah,
but then it pop up and says that, oh yeah, like that. So what we want is this part here. So I kind of want it to be revealed in a sense, like Wulfie is gonna be revealed. So what we could do again is recomposite the entirety of this, but I'm not going to do that. What I could probably do is see if I can get this stuff to kind of behave. So I have something called mixed parent position. We'll see how that works out. Right, so let's try doing that. I'm gonna have my original here. I'm gonna have my highlight. I'm gonna pull everything inside my, it's my highlighted version, just like, so this is my parenting, it looks like. So whenever original moves, everything else moves. Cool. So now I've set that there, and I guess I could always highlight these. Say, this is gonna be my tomatoes, right? So we want when this guy moves. So we're gonna have him come up from the background and kind of walk up to the scene. Oh, there's something wrong though. I'm not exactly seeing my reflection here. Let's see what's going on here. Alright, reflection, what's going on? Ooh, my reflection somehow stopped working. I guess it has to do with the highlights or something, but it's not exactly showing. And I couldn't tell you why. Let's check. So the opacity of the reflection is 100%. And if I were to double click on it, it looks just like this. Alright, let's jump back to back to Wulfie main, which is what that looks like. There's no audio for that. So I move this reflection thing above this. See if that did anything. No. No. There's no masking on there. There's no effects on there. It is very odd. Alright, let's see if we can do something else. Original one. Cool, so that's there. Let's rename this one again. I don't know what happened, and I would prefer to have solved the problem just in case anybody else had that same problem. So let's set this to reflection again, and I'm just gonna go scale, transform, scale, unhook that, and on the Y, that's a negative 100. I'm just gonna pull that down on the green axis there. Alright, it's okay if it looks like, yeah, and just play with the opacity as well. So that's going to be 15, and I'll be fine with that. Alright, wait, yes. Yeah, we can replace this one because we're doing better on this one now. Now we want Wulfie to appear, like I said, and I want him to walk up to the thing. So, like I said before, I'm just gonna set this up so that we have one parent. So it looks like when you set the origin, Okay, that's when it happens. So I won't set any parenting then. Most disproportionate. I'll set it for the highlight, however. That doesn't seem to affect. So anytime the highlight moves, that'll be fine. So um cool. Sharp, sharp. So let's have Wulfie walk in. Gonna pull this back.
So yeah, I moved.
Alright, cool. So that looks like a good enough time. Uh I'll just have him start off dark. So but first I'll set my keyframes for what I need to do. Position wise for each of them, key, position for highlight, right? Just check transform, set position, and same thing for highlight, highlighting position, and the original one, we also want to do the same, position, position, position. So we're setting the position to be there. Reason being, because we'll move back, you don't want to walk out of the shadows. Alright, so that's reflection, that's that's this thing. We don't need really effect as much as transform. There's also, besides that, for opacity. So we want to play with the opacity as well. Right, so that's there. Right, cool. So opacity is going to come at the same time that, same thing for this, same thing for this, and also scale. Can't neglect that as well. So those three, I'm going to move this back a bit. So like we had, original is the one that's going to control that stuff. So I'm going to choose, if original controls all that stuff, and there's really no need for me to do anything with the highlights. I'm just going to press none for that. Ready now? Maybe I should. Yeah, let's leave that highlight being original. So let's play with original. Let's choose scale, and this time we're gonna set scale to be something smaller. Wow, probably 90%, right? And because he's walking up to the table, we have to consider perspective. So I'm gonna pull that down. And also the same with 90-90 for reflection. So this was gonna happen, right? So that's what's happening. So for also the reflection, right? This reflection here, and reflection has a scale as well. This is 90. So here's the thing: you have to set the negative 90. So negative 90, and also it should be 90, right? And that part's gonna come up like so. That way, when you're walking in, it looks like that. There's only about one thing left, right? Because the highlights and the shadows are all working together. That'll just be the opacity of both the original and the highlight, as well as the other thing. So below opacity for this, right? You notice it doesn't affect the highlight. But opacity needs to be at 0 for the first part, and for the highlight, let's lower the opacity as well. So when he walks in, you get this look like that. You notice that the reflection appears suddenly, so we need to actually do something with that too. So reflection, transform, opacity is going to also be 0. And then you're practically finished. Cool. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do that. Now, there's more to it than that. So he comes in, and move. Right. So if you don't like how thick this highlight is, you can always go back in and play with the effects a bit more. and play with what was it again? Just the positioning of it, right? But you can have to be kind of careful about that positioning because that child it won't be affected so much because you know notice that is that it actually gets smaller. So you want to be cautious of that as well because we've set keyframes for this thing, and if our keyframes are set and it's based off original, then it can actually affect it. So let's play transform again and just make sure everything is cooking to the right degree. Right, so you can actually delete position and scale. And if you want to animate them independently, right, do that. So maybe you want to start off with a thin looking highlight. Maybe you want to start off with a brighter looking highlight that comes down and then set that scale, right? Not scale position, just scale. No, not scale, actually, you're right. Position. Not there yet. Bam! And it's gonna have to come back up. Now you're underneath it, so you need to see it as much. And also, the light shining towards him, you probably see his face a little bit better. So then, in the original, we can set, what is it? For effect, for fill color, to not be there. Then amount that much. And that. And voila. Right? For the next bit, however, we're gonna have to drag this guy back into the editor. So Wulfie main, fling him into the video editor. So you have to click editor. This is composite, this is editor. Like I said, it works like After Effects and also Premiere at the same time. So now you have everything. Now there's additional stuff you could do in there if you have effects, if you wanna add to this, like color grading and second. Alright, let's go. Now you have things like quick 3D, sharpen, stylize, temporal, etc. Channel, blur, whatever. Right, you have different things you can add to this to make it a little bit more interesting. Video cleanup and transitions and warps, temporal, stylize. Right, you can always play around with everything. If you put on like a cartoon filter on this, everything gets all cartoony with a hard edge. But these are additional stuff that you really don't need. Now I have something here called glow or lens flare. Now you see these ones with add-ons, they are actually, they still work, but when you use them, they light leak. What happens is that you get that HitFilms Express 12 on there, even though you could probably even check out the effect on them. Light leak over here for the controls, light leak generation, choose scale. I don't know what that does. Right, so we have things like these, which if you want that kind of an effect on your video, you could do that. Right, so we're not playing with the light leak so much because we don't need it. We also have lens flare. Drop that on there. What you get is a lens flare whose point you can actually change. Be there. Lens flare has more effects. You have different types of lights, like 35 millimeter prime, etc. You have different things. You can choose what you want to use. So there's different things you can actually add to it to make it more interesting. It actually doesn't look too bad, right? So you scale, change that, make it thicker a little bit, right? You just, yeah, start block, camcorder, right? Flash LED. And there's so many different ones to choose from. Spotlight soft, sun glare, but we're not using any sunlight white rays, right? We're not doing any of that stuff. We have particles too. Right? So I guess if you can just move it around different things will move as well, right? So we're not using those either, but you can, right? So play around with the effects, do whatever you think might look good, right? So let's actually get this thing rendered out, right? So once you have it in here, it's a matter of exporting, and it's export in area or contents, and our contents are really just from here to here. So we could actually export the contents, and we have about what 20, 29 point, well 30 seconds exactly of export. Choose contents. Timeline has been added to the export queue, switch the export theme to begin exporting. You can choose to go to export, it pops up like that. We have a whole bunch of these different things. But we'll be exporting actually though, not these, because we actually put something there before. I'll just move this because I don't need, right? I only need this one. So I'm gonna, although these are all in queue, we can choose to export just this one, which is the one we just had a while ago, and choose to export the content. It's, that much. Right? That's what kind of preset you want to use. Just choose contents, and oh, it pops up down here. Yeah. So once that's done, you can start exporting, and tells you what format it's going to export to and where it's going to export to. So you have HitFilms Export. I'm going to just put my downloads folder since I have that, and just look at the difference between it and, so HitFilms Export Wulfie, and let's start exporting. It's gonna take a while to export, depending. I mean, 30 seconds of footage, and so you get to kind of see a preview of what's really going on. And the progress rate isn't so bad, so that's kind of cool. So I'll just wait here and entertain you with a little bit of my, you know, blah. So it's Teachers Day in Jamaica, so that's kind of cool and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna take a phone call and let this thing render. Okay, I'll be back. Cooking. Perfect. Let us go to that location and just play. Here's what we do. Um, Because I have both. Because I have both of them, I'm gonna use this one, and I'm gonna also use this other one. Them Wulfie. Wulfie speaks in Wulfie. So I'll just play in media player and see how both of them looks.
Alright, what's your deal? Hurry it up, I'm gonna kite schedule here. Chop chop.
So
Oh
this is the
yeah,
first
I'm
one.
Wulfie. Actually, my name is William Ulrich Leonard Farrell III, but everyone calls me Wulfie. They say my nickname has no effort, but I don't care. I'm also a vegetarian. Well, sometimes. But don't tell mom. I gotta go now.
All right, that was the first.
Alright, what's your deal? Hurry it up, I'm gonna kite schedule
Second
here.
one.
Chop chop.
Oh yeah, I'm Wulfie. Actually, my name is William Ulrich Leonard Farrell III, but everyone calls me Wulfie. They say my nickname has no effort, but I don't care. I'm also a vegetarian.
So
Well,
that's
sometimes.
both of them.
But don't tell mom.
Yeah,
I gotta
you're
go now.
done. Get out of here. Bye. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notifications button or something. In case
Alright.